Hey there, guys, and welcome to the Ruby Rose live stream today here on May 1st. Today, we actually are a little shorter. We don't have a whole lot of news to tell today, but we are going to talk about one of St. Joe's more famous persons that lived here for a while, the hanging judge. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of the idea of a hanging judge, the guy who always brings down the guilty plea. Most people don't realize there was about five of those people known as that in our history of the world, and one of them was actually started his career in law right here in St. Joseph. So today we're going to talk about Isaac Parker, the hanging judge. Isaac Parker was born not in St. Joseph, but in Ohio, and was actually the nephew or the great nephew of Ohio's governor at the time. He grew up in Ohio around Barnesville, got your regular education, went on to graduate and pass the bar exam in 1859. At that time, he actually decided to move right here in St. Joe and start up to work for his uncle as a part of what was called Shannon and Birch. And he worked for them for a few years, got married here in town, had two children, and then started his own law firm and started to work with the municipal courts in the area. Um, he basically was a lawyer here in the area for many years and actually served as the city attorney for almost 3 years before the war broke out. When the war did break out, he did move to to join the army and actually join the pro Union forces that were from Missouri. And as some of you may know, Missouri was split between pro Union and and pro-Confederate. In Missouri alone, St. Joe actually had regiments of both. As you remember last week, we talked about a gentleman who joined the pro-conservative unit. Um, when he returned after that, he did actually continue his political career. He actually formally split from the Democratic Party to join up with Abraham Lincoln's Republican Party. He was actually one of the first men to cast a vote in the Electoral College for Abraham Lincoln to become president. After serving his time as a member of the Electoral College, he actually ran for the 12th Missouri Circuit Court. And this is kind of when his career kicked off with the court system. After being on the court system for a while, he decided to run for the Senate, as you do apparently, and he was a Republican representative of the House of Representatives for our district or this district at the 42nd and 43rd Congress, and then jumped to the Senate after that. After serving in the Senate for a while, up until 1874, he actually decided to he was actually going to be nominated as Chief Justice of the Utah Territory by President Grant, but he chose to not be part of that. He actually requested to be a member of the to cover the Arkansas district, or the Western District, which was actually a much larger district in the long run. He ended up taking, or not taking control, but sitting on the court. He was actually promoted because the man before him, Mr. Story, was being threatened to be impeached for corruption. And so he was confirmed in 1875, and he stayed on that same seat until 1896. His seat was at Fort Smith, Arkansas. And if you go to Fort Smith now, their historic site there has his courtroom rebuilt. So if you ever want to go sit in the judge seat of the hanging judge, you can. And why he was known as the hanging judge itself was during his time on the Western District, he became notorious for guilty pleas. He's tried over 1,300 or 13,000 cases, and in 8,500 of them or more, they pled guilty or were convicted. And he ended up actually sentencing 160 people to death, and 79 of them were actually executed. So there's where the hanging judge comes from. It was known that he was not well liked amongst those in the East, especially in Washington. They felt like he was a little cruel, and that he was a little overzealous with hanging. He was actually quoted as responding to that right before he left his seat, as that he's never hung a man; he's just followed the law. He said that he was said to it was cruel that he was being cruel and utterly hardened character of a man is what he'd been dealt with, because he had been dealing with gangs, the Star Gang and stuff like that. As he went through his period, he ended up stepping down from the court in 1896 due to him dying. He actually was on the court until the day he died. So he ended up being one of the most notorious hanging judges in our country. And so he is actually buried at Fort Smith National Cemetery. And like I said, he oversaw a number of them, and some of them actually were. The part of trouble he had was they were supposed to be acquitted, or they never received the option to actually get a pardoning or going in for an appeal. He's actually become so famous that he was represented in the movie True Grit and the novel True Grit. And a lot of people have probably seen that, both the 1969 version, the sequel of the book, and in the 2010 version. And then even in a number of television shows over the years, they've shown his character as kind of that larger than life judge type character. And so Judge Parker, like I said, started his career here in St. Joe, and that was kind of where he got it all from the start. And so that was the hanging judge and how he connected to St. Joe. And so in the future, we're going to try and do some more of these. I know this one's a little bit short and just kind of talking about one guy, but we are going to keep going with a few more in the future. If you have anybody you really want to learn about here in St. Joe, please do put that down in our description or in the comment section below. We'd love to tell you guys about anyone that's here from St. Joe, these fun characters we have, or the different interesting characters that come through history. We should have some updates on what's happening with the row next week. We're still working through what we're going to be doing and how we're going to be preparing for this kind of uncertain time coming up soon. So we look forward to hearing from you, and we are working on some other stuff as well that we're hoping you guys will like. But please do follow us here. Share this with anyone you know so we can spread the news on Judge Parker, the hanging judge from St. Joe. We do look forward to hearing from you guys. All right, you have a great day. Thanks.